The universe is a vast tapestry of mysteries, where particles dance in ways that challenge our understanding of reality itself. Beneath the surface of everyday experience lies a realm where consciousness and quantum physics intertwine, raising questions that stir both curiosity and wonder. Imagine your mind not just observing the world, but actively shaping it at a fundamental level. This exploration invites us to consider whether our very awareness plays a role in the fabric of existence, revealing a connection that blurs the line between what we perceive and what is. In this journey, we'll delve into how the tiny particles that compose everything might be linked to the vast depths of our consciousness, opening doors to a universe where the act of thinking is intertwined with the structure of reality itself. 1. Introduction: The mystery of the observing mind. The dance between consciousness and quantum physics invites us into a realm where reality itself seems to shimmer with possibility. At its core lies a profound question: what is the nature of the observing mind? In classical physics, the universe appears as a vast, orderly machine, governed by laws that predict behavior with remarkable precision. But when we delve into the quantum domain, those laws become less predictable, less deterministic. Particles behave both like particles and waves, their states existing in a cloud of probabilities until a conscious observer steps into the picture. This concept has mystified scientists and philosophers alike, raising the question of whether consciousness itself influences the fabric of reality. Quantum physics reveals that particles such as electrons or photons don't have a fixed position or state until they are measured or observed. This phenomenon, known as superposition, means they exist in multiple possibilities simultaneously. When an observer makes a measurement, the wave function collapses into a single, definite state. This process suggests that the act of observation plays a fundamental role in shaping what becomes reality. One analogy often used is that of a coin spinning in mid-air. Until it lands and we see it, it's in a blend of heads and tails. The question arises: is the mind actively playing a role in deciding the outcome, or is it merely a passive witness? Some interpretations of quantum mechanics propose that consciousness itself may be intertwined with this process, blurring the line between the observer and the observed. This mystery reaches deeper when we consider the idea that our consciousness might not be a mere byproduct of physical processes but could have a participatory role in shaping the universe. It hints at a universe that isn't entirely separate from the mind but is instead interconnected in a delicate web of awareness and possibility. The implications stretch beyond physics into spirituality and philosophy, suggesting that the boundaries between self and universe are more fluid than previously believed. Quantum phenomena challenge our conventional notions of reality, hinting that the act of conscious observation could be fundamental to existence, not just a side effect of brain activity but a core part of the universe's fabric. The more we explore these questions, the more they seem to evoke a sense of wonder and humility. The observing mind appears to be a key player in an ongoing cosmic act, one that invites us to reconsider what it means to be aware, to know, and to participate. The mystery of the observer in quantum physics is not just a scientific puzzle but a spiritual invitation, to recognize that consciousness may be woven into the very structure of reality, connecting us in ways that defy simple explanation. It's a gentle reminder that, in the silence of our inner worlds, we may hold keys to unlocking the profound secret of the universe itself. 2. The observer effect and quantum origins of reality. In the strange world of quantum physics, the act of observation holds a power that seems almost mystical. Unlike everyday experiences where seeing or measuring something feels straightforward, like noting the position of a ball or the speed of a car, the quantum realm reveals that observation can fundamentally alter reality itself. This is famously encapsulated in what's known as the observer effect, where the mere act of a conscious observer watching a particle affects its behavior and state. Instead of particles being fixed entities zipping along predetermined paths, they exist in a foggy state of probability until a measurement collapses this fog into a tangible reality. Think of it like a cloud of possibilities hovering around a quantum system. Until you look, it's as if the system refuses to settle into a definite shape. When you do observe, you force it into one particular state among many. For example, electrons are known to behave both as particles and waves, and this duality only appears in the act of measurement. Before observation, the electron exists in a superposition, a blend of multiple potential states. But once we measure, the electron chooses a specific position or momentum, and the superposition collapses. It's as though reality remains fluid until consciousness, or at least measurement, interacts with it. This leads to profound questions. Is the universe inherently indeterminate, waiting passively for a curious mind to decide its form? Or does consciousness play a more active role in shaping what we experience? The idea that our awareness might influence the fabric of reality opens a portal from physics into deeper philosophical and spiritual realms. Some interpret this as evidence that consciousness isn't just a side effect of brain activity but intertwined with the universe's very structure. In essence, the observer effect hints at a universe that is participatory at its core, reality not solely discovered, but created through acts of measurement and awareness. Throughout this quantum dance, the boundary between the physical and the mental begins to blur. If the universe's smallest building blocks are sensitive to observation, what does that say about the significance of consciousness itself? Is it possible that consciousness is not an emergent property of matter, but a fundamental aspect of reality? These questions evoke a sense of awe and mystery, suggesting that the act of conscious awareness might be woven into the cosmic tapestry, influencing and perhaps even birthing the very reality we inhabit. The more we probe into the quantum foundations of existence, the more it feels like a delicate interplay, a cosmic conversation where mind and matter are dancing partners. 3. Wave-particle duality, matter that responds to observation. When we observe matter at the quantum level, a peculiar behavior emerges, one that defies our everyday experience of how particles and waves should act. This is wave-particle duality, a cornerstone concept in quantum physics. In classical physics, stuff is either a particle, like a billiard ball, or a wave, like ripples on a pond. But in the quantum world, entities such as electrons and photons seem to embody both qualities simultaneously, depending on how they are observed. When left unmeasured, an electron exists as a spread-out wave of probabilities, a cloud of potential locations and states. Once we try to measure where it truly is, that wave collapses and the electron appears as a tiny particle at a specific point. This phenomenon deeply connects to the act of observation itself. It's not just that observation reveals information, actual measurement appears to influence the behavior of particles. Imagine shining a spotlight on a foggy landscape. Before illumination, the fog exists in a kind of diffuse, shapeless state, but when you look closely or measure its position, its form seems to resolve into distinct objects. Similarly, in quantum experiments, the mere act of observing so-called collapses the wave of possibilities into a definite, tangible state. This process raises profound questions. If no one looks at the electron, does it truly have a definite position? Or is it suspended in a realm of potentials until consciousness steps in to bring it into being? Some interpret wave-particle duality as hinting at the interconnectedness of mind and matter. If the fundamental nature of particles depends on observation, it suggests that consciousness plays a role in shaping reality, at least at the quantum level. This shift from classical determinism toward a participatory universe sparks contemplations about the nature of awareness. Is consciousness simply a byproduct of brain activity, or does it have a more fundamental role, perhaps even integrally linked to the fabric of reality itself? While science can describe the mechanics, it also invites us to reflect on what it means that reality's fundamental building blocks seem to respond to the act of conscious observation. The analogy of a movie projector can help clarify this notion. The film strip contains all the potential scenes, every possible outcome, yet when the projector shines its light, specific images emerge on the screen. The act of shining that light, or, in quantum terms, measuring, brings a particular scene into focus, collapsing all the potentialities into a single, concrete moment. The universe at the quantum level appears to be in a state of constant potential until it is observed, and in doing so, consciousness seems to play an active role, shaping the unfolding of reality itself. This blending of physics with philosophy touches upon a mystery that continues to challenge and inspire both scientists and thinkers. Are we merely passive witnesses, or are we intrinsic participants in the unfolding story of the universe? 4. Consciousness as a quantum phenomenon, Deep within the fabric of reality, quantum physics suggests that particles don't simply exist in a well-defined state until observed. Instead, they occupy a haze of possibilities, described mathematically as a wave function, a kind of probability cloud that collapses into a specific outcome when measured. This idea has intriguing implications for consciousness, especially when some theorists posit that consciousness itself might be a quantum phenomenon, participating in or even orchestrating this collapse. Think of the mind as a vast, complex wave, resonating with quantum states that are fundamentally indeterminate until they're perceived or experienced. This perspective hints at a universe where consciousness and the physical world are intertwined in a dance of potentiality and actualization. One analogy often used to visualize this is the famous thought experiment called Schrödinger's cat, where a cat inside a sealed box can be both alive and dead until someone opens the box and observes. In the realm of consciousness, some suggest that thoughts, perceptions, or memories might exist as superpositions, overlapping possibilities, until they become conscious experiences. When you pay attention to a specific thought or sensation, it's akin to the wave function collapsing into a definite state. This raises a tantalizing question: could our awareness itself be a quantum process, capable of influencing reality on a fundamental level? If the mind and matter are linked through quantum effects, then consciousness might not be just an emergent property of neural activity, but an active participant in shaping the universe. Further adding to this mystery are phenomena like quantum entanglement, where particles become so interconnected that the state of one instantly influences the state of another, no matter how far apart they are. Some suggest that consciousness might operate in a similar way, entangling our minds with the fabric of the universe in ways that defy classical explanation. This could mean that our thoughts and intentions are not purely subjective or isolated, but part of a wider quantum web connecting all things. It's a humbling idea, that our inner experience might be a reflection of deeper, quantum-level processes that link our consciousness to the cosmos. Such thoughts evoke a sense of spiritual wonder, hinting that understanding consciousness may require embracing the strange, beautiful mysteries of the quantum realm. In essence, viewing consciousness as a quantum phenomenon invites a perspective where mind and matter are inseparably linked through the core mysteries of quantum physics. It challenges the classical notion of consciousness as merely a product of neurological activity, proposing instead that awareness might be a fundamental feature of the universe, emerging from, and perhaps even governed by, the same rules that govern particles and waves. This convergence of science and spirituality opens pathways to reconsider our understanding of reality itself, suggesting that consciousness might be the bridge between the seen and unseen, the measurable and the mysterious. It invites us to see awareness not solely as a byproduct of biology, but as an ancient, quantum thread woven into the very fabric of existence. 5. Entanglement and the unity of all existence. Imagine two particles that have interacted at some point and then been separated by vast distances. In classical physics, once apart, they are considered independent. What happens to one doesn't affect the other. However, quantum physics introduces a phenomenon called entanglement, where the states of these particles become so intertwined that measuring one instantly determines the state of the other, regardless of how far apart they are. This isn't just a curiosity, it hints at a deeply interconnected universe, a fabric where separateness is an illusion at the most fundamental level. What makes entanglement so profound is its implication that all particles, or at least all parts of a system that have interacted at some point, share a mysterious connection. When you think about it, it suggests that beneath our everyday experience of separateness, there might be a unity, a web of relationships binding everything together. This unity is not just philosophical speculation but a genuine feature of the quantum world, where the distinction between individual entities begins to blur. The idea resonates with spiritual notions of interconnectedness, emphasizing that the universe isn't a collection of isolated objects but a single, living whole. From a consciousness perspective, some theorists propose that this quantum interconnectedness extends beyond particles, possibly into the realm of mind and experience. If entanglement can occur between particles across space, might there be a form of quantum entanglement between conscious entities? That question opens up all sorts of fascinating possibilities. Could moments of shared understanding, intuition, or even collective consciousness be signs of this universal web? While science hasn't yet confirmed this fully, such ideas invite us to explore consciousness not just as a product of brain activity but as part of this grand, interconnected fabric of existence. It hints that our sense of separateness could be an illusion, a temporary reflection in a universe that is fundamentally unified. Thinking about entanglement challenges our traditional view of reality. It suggests a universe where separation is a surface appearance, rather than an ultimate truth. This notion can be deeply humbling and profoundly inspiring. It whispers that we're all part of something larger, an interconnected, perhaps even conscious, whole. Whether or not this quantum unity translates directly into human experience remains a mystery, but its implications invite us to see ourselves as more than isolated beings. Instead, we might be nodes in a vast, interconnected consciousness, bound by threads that defy space and time, reminding us that the universe's deepest secret may be that everything, at some level, is one. 6. Time and perception in the quantum present. Time, as it is commonly understood in daily life, feels continuous and absolute, a steady flow from past through present to future. Yet, in the realm of quantum physics, this perception dissolves into a layered, more elusive experience. Quantum phenomena challenge our sense of time's linearity, revealing that at fundamental levels, the universe doesn't adhere strictly to a sequential ticking clock. Particles seem to exist in a state of superposition, where multiple possibilities coexist simultaneously, blurring the boundary between past and future. This shift suggests that what we perceive as the present may not be an independent, fixed moment but rather a dynamic interplay of potentialities. The notion of the quantum present invites us to reconsider time not as an external backdrop but as something intertwined with consciousness itself. In classical physics, time is an independent parameter, like a cosmic metronome ticking uniformly everywhere. But quantum physics hints at a more fluid picture. The conscious mind might influence how this underlying quantum field collapses into a specific experience of now. When we observe or become aware of something, we are not just passively recording information, we may be actively shaping the very fabric of our experience by selecting particular outcomes from an ocean of possibilities. It's as if the flow of time, at the quantum level, is subtly molded by awareness itself, giving rise to a shared moment that is both a point in space and a projection of consciousness. This perspective aligns with spiritual and contemplative traditions that speak of the present as a timeless, sacred space, an ongoing now where past and future are held as potentials, not fixed realities. In quantum terms, the present is both everything that has happened and everything that might happen, existing in a superstate that collapses into what we call reality when we focus our attention. The act of observation or perception, then, becomes a kind of tap, a moment where potentialities manifest, creating the experience of a unified timeline. It suggests that perception isn't merely passive, it's an active co-creator of reality, intimately linked to how time unfolds in our lives. Finally, considering how the quantum view of time challenges traditional ideas opens a door to a more expansive understanding of consciousness. It hints that our thoughts, intentions, and perceptions might influence the very structure of the present moment, weaving a reality that is at once physical and mental. The mystery lies in how awareness and quantum processes dance together, raising questions that blend science with philosophy and spirituality. If time isn't just something out there, but an extension of conscious awareness, then exploring this relationship can lead us to a deeper sense of connection, where the boundary between mind and matter, past and future, dissolves into a vast, pulsating quantum field of infinite potential. 7. The mind as a co-creator of reality. In the realm of quantum physics, particles behave in ways that defy our everyday experience, revealing a universe that is fundamentally interconnected and probabilistic. Unlike the classical world where objects have definite positions and velocities, quantum particles exist in a haze of possibilities until observed or measured. This phenomenon, known as superposition, suggests that reality doesn't crystallize into definite forms independently but is shaped by the act of observation itself. This idea begins to hint at a profound connection between consciousness and the fabric of the universe, sparking a re-evaluation of how minds might influence reality. The concept of the mind as a co-creator arises from interpretations of quantum mechanics where consciousness appears to play a pivotal role. When particles are observed, their wave functions collapse to a specific state, effectively choosing a particular reality out of many possibilities. Some scientists and thinkers propose that this process signifies more than mere measurement in the physical sense, hinting that consciousness might be intrinsic to the unfolding of the universe. This perspective invites us to see the mind not as a passive receiver of information but as an active participant in shaping what exists. The clarity and focus of our attention could, in this view, influence the manifestation of events, varieties of energy, or even the structure of reality itself. Analogies can help unpack this notion. Think of a vast, complex tapestry woven from countless threads of potential patterns. When a weaver, akin to consciousness, decides to focus on certain threads, those chosen threads become more prominent and detailed, while others fade into the background. In this metaphor, consciousness is not simply observing the tapestry but somehow directing its patterning. Quantum experiments, such as the famous double-slit test, suggest that particles behave differently depending on whether they are observed, performing wave-like interference patterns when unmeasured and collapsing into particles when measured. This indicates that the very act of conscious observation appears to influence the outcome, hinting that our minds might be an integral part of the creative process of reality. Some thinkers extend this idea into the spiritual realm, proposing that consciousness is a fundamental aspect of the universe, an unseen but vital force shaping matter and energy. This blurs lines between science and spirituality, emphasizing that the act of awareness is intertwined with the unfolding cosmos. If the mind and matter are linked at this quantum level, then the boundaries we perceive between ourselves and the external world may be more porous than traditionally believed. The implications suggest a universe where awareness and intention are powerful, creative forces, capable of influencing events beyond what the classical scientific paradigm considers possible. It opens up the exciting, if mysterious, possibility that we are co-authors of reality, each thought and intention contributing, in some way, to the ongoing story of existence. 8. Bridging science and spiritual insight. In the mysterious dance between consciousness and quantum physics, a compelling narrative emerges, one that spans beyond the confines of traditional science and touches on deeper spiritual insights. Quantum physics reveals a universe fundamentally different from our everyday experience, one where particles exist in multiple states simultaneously, only deciding on a specific state when observed. This is captured by the principle of superposition, where an electron, for instance, can be in many places at once until measured. The act of observation, once thought too trivial to influence reality, becomes central and profound, prompting questions about the role of consciousness itself. Is the mind an active participant in shaping reality, or merely a passive observer? As scientists push the boundaries of understanding, many find a bridge to spiritual traditions suggesting that consciousness isn't just a byproduct of brain activity but an integral part of the universe's fabric. When quantum physics describes phenomena like entanglement, where particles separated by vast distances instantly affect one another, it hints at a connected, unified consciousness underpinning all of existence. This interconnectedness resonates with spiritual teachings about oneness, reminding us that separation might be an illusion, and that the mind is intertwined with everything around it. In this view, consciousness might be akin to a vast, unifying field, a cosmic web page, whose patterns and frequencies shape the physical world as much as the spoken word shapes our thoughts. Many thinkers argue that embracing this perspective dissolves the strict boundary between science and spirituality. It invites us to see ourselves as participants in a larger, ongoing act of creation. When you meditate or have a profound insight, you may intuitively feel a connection to something far bigger, an experience that certain interpretations of quantum physics seem to validate in a circular dance of mystery. Just as particles whimsically shift states upon being observed, our awareness can influence the unfolding of reality, subtly guiding the fabric of existence. This perspective fosters a sense of spiritual kinship with the universe, where consciousness isn't separate or secondary but central and primary. Ultimately, bridging science with spiritual insight doesn't necessarily resolve the mysteries. Instead, it enriches them. Quantum physics tells us that at a fundamental level, reality is more fluid and interconnected than we usually believe. Spiritual traditions have long practiced the idea that inner states of consciousness influence the outer world. When these worlds intersect, they invite us to view ourselves not as isolated observers but as active co-creators in a cosmic mystery unfurling. This synergy offers a perspective that embraces both scientific rigor and the wonder of spiritual insight, an ongoing dialogue that celebrates the profound, often unexplainable link between mind and matter. 9. Challenges and skepticism, science versus metaphysics. The dialogue between quantum physics and consciousness has always been a fertile ground for debate, yet it remains mired in skepticism rooted in the stark divide between science and metaphysics. On one hand, mainstream science relies on rigorous experimentation, objective measurements, and reproducibility. Quantum physics, with its strange principles like superposition and entanglement, often appears to suggest a universe far from our everyday experience, one where particles can be connected across vast distances or exist in multiple states at once. These phenomena provoke awe but also suspicion because their interpretations seem to stretch beyond tangible evidence into the realm of philosophical speculation. Many scientists caution against equating quantum mechanics with consciousness, viewing such ideas as fanciful or ungrounded in testable hypotheses. This skepticism is reinforced by the difficulty in designing experiments that directly link quantum phenomena to conscious experience. While quantum effects are well documented at microscopic scales, extrapolating these to the macroscopic domain of the human mind remains contentious. Critics argue that invoking quantum processes to explain consciousness risks crossing into metaphysics, territory where claims become more about spiritual or mystical interpretations than scientific validation. For example, some proponents suggest that consciousness may collapse quantum wave functions, but such claims lack direct empirical support and remain speculative. The scientific community has often responded by emphasizing the importance of falsifiability, a key criterion for scientific theories, and pointing out that many of these ideas cannot be tested or proven in controlled experiments. Despite these challenges, the allure of connecting consciousness to quantum physics persists because it offers a glimpse into a universe where the boundaries between mind and matter dissolve. Some thinkers see it as a way to move beyond a purely materialist view, opening space for a more integrated understanding of human experience. However, embracing such a vision comes with risks. Mixing scientific language with metaphysical claims can dilute the credibility of genuine scientific inquiry. It becomes easy to fall into the trap of quantum mysticism, where complex, obscure language is used to justify spiritual ideas that lack empirical support. This kind of fusion tends to generate more confusion than clarity, deterring serious investigation and fostering skepticism on both sides, scientists wary of pseudoscience and spiritual thinkers suspicious of scientific reductionism. At its core, the tension between science and metaphysics in this area invites ongoing reflection. The mystery of consciousness, how subjective experience arises from physical processes, resists complete explanation. Quantum physics complicates this puzzle because it challenges our notions of objective reality and measurement, suggesting that observation itself influences the outcome. Perhaps what remains most compelling is that both frameworks, scientific and spiritual, grapple with the same fundamental question: what is the nature of awareness? Although current skepticism acts as a barrier, it also preserves the integrity of scientific rigor, reminding us that any claim about the mind's connection to the quantum realm must withstand the scrutiny of empirical testing and logical coherence. Still, in the quiet moments of contemplation, many feel that somewhere beyond these debates lies a deeper, unspoken truth, one that invites us to explore the intertwining mysteries of consciousness and the universe without rushing towards definitive answers. 10. Conclusion: the self as observer and creator. At the core of the relationship between consciousness and quantum physics lies a profound idea: the self is not merely a passive witness but an active participant, an observer shaping reality even at its most fundamental level. Quantum physics reveals that particles exist in a state of probability until they are observed, collapsing into a definite position or state through the act of measurement. This phenomenon suggests that, in some sense, consciousness and observation influence the fabric of reality itself. When we look at the universe through this lens, the boundaries between awareness and the physical world soften, hinting that our consciousness might play a role far beyond mere perception, extending into the realm of creation. Consider the famous double-slit experiment, often discussed in these contexts. When particles such as electrons are shot through a pair of slits, they create an interference pattern, waves overlapping and producing a characteristic pattern, unless a measuring device observes which slit the particle passes through. Once observed, the pattern collapses, and particles behave like solid bullets rather than waves. This suggests that the act of observation alters the behavior of matter at a fundamental level. It's as if consciousness involves more than passive witnessing, it participates deeply in shaping reality's structure. The implication is that what we perceive as external reality is, in some way, intertwined with our own awareness. Some interpretations of quantum theory extend this idea, proposing that the self is a co-creator of the universe. The observer effect hints at a universe that does not have a fixed, independent existence outside of conscious awareness. Instead, reality remains in a state of potential until the mind engages with it, to see it, to measure it, to give it meaning. In this perspective, consciousness isn't an afterthought or a byproduct of physical processes but a foundational element that guides the unfolding of the cosmos. The self, in this view, is both observer and creator, continuously participating in a dance with the quantum field, instantiating forms and meaning from the ocean of possibilities. In embracing this idea, a touch of spirituality naturally emerges. The universe appears as a vast interconnected web, where consciousness acts as the loom weaving threads of reality. Each act of awareness resonates through this fabric, creating ripples that manifest as tangible experience. It invites a view of the self not as a separate island but as an active point of origin within a limitless sea of potential. This perspective opens space for a contemplative view of existence, the understanding that we are not only witnessing the universe but inherently sculpting its ongoing emergence. When we think of ourselves as both observers and creators, a new sense of responsibility and wonder awakens, acknowledging that our inner worlds and outer realities are mutually influencing, woven together in a continuous act of becoming. As we reach the end of our exploration into the quantum self, it becomes clear that the relationship between consciousness and quantum physics is still shrouded in mystery. At its core, the idea suggests that our minds might be interconnected with the fabric of reality itself, like delicate threads woven through the universe. Quantum phenomena, such as particles existing in multiple states at once or becoming entangled across vast distances, invite us to ponder whether consciousness plays a fundamental role in shaping the world we experience. These concepts remind us that the boundaries between mind and matter are not as fixed as they seem. Instead, they invite a sense of wonder, a gentle reminder that both science and spirituality point toward a deeper connection, one that stretches beyond our everyday perception. Perhaps, in understanding ourselves, we are also unraveling the very nature of existence itself. Thank you for joining this journey into the quantum mysteries of the self. If these ideas spark your curiosity, stay tuned for more conversations that blend science, philosophy, and the soul. Together, we can continue to explore the universe within and without, always seeking where consciousness and the cosmos meet.